Welcome back to day 6 of easy makeup you can do at home with your own makeup without having to buy anything new. My last video was about how you can make a lipstick that feels a bit intimidating and a bit more wearable. And so I thought today I would do exactly the same thing, but for eyeshadow. Hello, sorry to interrupt. I filmed this video on Friday and it's now Sunday. I feel like I have to tell you before you watch it, I got tickets to this concert. The story of how it all happened, I'll do tomorrow. It was so emotional to edit because the whole way through I'm like, I've tried everything to go to the concert, and even in the video I'm like pinging my notifications away because usually I put my phone in do not disturb mode to film, but because I'd emailed anyone I possibly could to try and go, I put my number at the bottom of all the emails, so I didn't want to put my phone on do not disturb in case I missed my chance. And the way I got my chance is so crazy, like we'll talk about that, but please know everything I say about getting ready for this concert, I got to go. I thought I'd just generally have a bit of a chat with you today because there's quite a few bits I was thinking to talk you through. And the first thing I want to talk you through is my skincare a little bit. So basically, I wasn't feeling very well last week, and I always do like the general gist of my skincare, but I was sat at home with no makeup on, I wasn't well, so I wasn't doing anything particularly meticulous, and probably half the days I wasn't even moisturising. Last weekend, when I came to put makeup on, everything I always wear looked awful on me, and my makeup hadn't changed, my brushes hadn't changed, nothing else had changed, but my skin was really dry. Now this time of year, or if for whatever reason, you know, if you've been unwell, whatever it might be, when your skin gets that bit more dry, your makeup won't sit in the correct way, and it's really important to exfoliate. Now with me having my rosacea, I have to be really careful what I exfoliate with, but I had used this solution from Ella and Joe, really lovely female owned Irish skincare brand, they're great. Neve, one of the co-founders, has got rosacea herself, and she was telling me that their AHA and BHA exfoliant she was able to use without any irritation. Now I've used it a couple of times over the last few months at various points. I never exfoliate when I'm particularly flared up, but at the moment, this is a conversation for another day. I have, for other reasons, cut out gluten and dairy, and touch wood, I've always got my persistent flushing, but I haven't had my texture. It's really made a huge difference to the texture. This is all part of research I'm doing into like the impact of your gut health on your skin, topic for another day. But anyway, getting us back into the room for a minute. If you found, now that the weather's got colder, that your makeup isn't sitting in the correct way, exfoliate with something that feels good for you and make sure you up your hydration. Now for the last few days, just to really give my skin like a real kickstart, I've been using the SkinCeuticals Hyaluronic Acid and the Ceramidin Moisturiser from Dr. Jart. This hyaluronic acid is so brilliant, it's very potent. I'm so sorry, I've got to keep my phone on loud today. I usually put it on do not disturb, so if I'm pinging things away, that's why. I'll tell you why in a minute. This is a brilliant hyaluronic acid. I find it really potent and it does the job, but it is definitely an investment. Ceramidin is a lovely range in general from Dr. Jart, very buttery, packed with ceramides as the name would suggest, great for moisturising your skin. These two together have made such a difference literally in a few days. However, what I will say, they're both investment pieces. I don't have this to hand, but the Inky List Hyaluronic Acid and the CeraVe Facial Moisturising Lotion, which you can get with or without SPF, are two affordable options for doing exactly that, giving your skin a real like dense hit of hydration. Both of those I would be equally as happy to use. I really love that moisturiser in particular. I tend to use the non-SPF version though and just use it twice a day. So that's the position we've been in, and I'm going to just use a little bit of both of these to prep my skin. Now, I mean, the reason I'm doing today's video of if you've got one thing that you maybe want to wear, or it feels a bit out of reach, is because I'm going to wear one of my favourite blue eyeshadows today. And the last one of these videos I did was like a kind of plummy lipstick, and saying how if you soften the edge of it a bit, it will feel a lot more wearable if it's out of your comfort zone. So I thought I'd do an eye version. Now today, you're not going to be like remotely surprised to hear what I'm doing, to be honest. I'm getting the train to Manchester because CHAPPELL ROAN is in Manchester tonight. Just absolutely to be clear, I don't have tickets. I have absolutely no way of getting in. I've tried my best. I've emailed everyone, given my number to everyone. I was on the phone again this morning. If anything changes, if anything happens, please ring me. So I feel like I've done my bit to try and get myself in there, but never mind. What I'm actually going to do is what CHAPPELL does ahead of her tour is she sets a theme for how she wants you to dress. It's obviously like, if you want to get involved, everyone wants to get involved. So tonight's theme is mermaids. So everyone's going to be dressed as mermaids. So I'm just going to go and talk to everyone in the queue. I'm really looking forward to it. My nephew's going to come and meet me as well to help me. So I'm so excited. I'm literally getting myself ready. Let me show you. See, it's a difficult one. I don't know if I'm going to be, I don't know this venue. I'm likely to just be stood outside. It's obviously freezing. Let's remind ourselves I haven't actually got tickets, so I kind of want to be in the zone, but I wasn't going to go getting like a whole outfit for a concert. I'm not going to. I'm not that unhinged. However, I did get loads of accessories for a concert. I'm not going to. So I've got my little starfishes. Of all the days I should have had my hair curly, but it just worked out that I had to wash it this morning and it wouldn't have been dry on time, because I like to just let it dry naturally when it's curly. But I was thinking to myself this morning, like, I don't know what I thought I'd be doing age 34, but getting a load of fancy dress outfits to get dressed up and travel 2 hours to a concert I haven't even got tickets to probably wasn't what I envisaged would be happening, but quite thrilled to be here, to be honest. So I'm going to keep my base really simple. I'm using the original CC cream, and what I actually did last night, I feel like you can see, I put my tan on my forehead, down my nose, a little bit there, and didn't do the rest of my face, because what I've been finding with my drops since my skin became so dry is that, like, the other day when I did it, I had a beard of tan because it was clinging to all of the dryness, and it really didn't look good. So I've just focused on the outer parts of my face with the tan drops, which is where I'd be putting my bronzer anyway. And what I'm going to do, see, ordinarily, right, in the name of keeping everything quite simple so that the blue eyeshadow is the main thing here, I'd be keeping things quite fresh. But I also need to factor in that I am travelling for a couple of hours, then I'm going to stand outside, I'm going to be chatting for hours, I want my makeup to look nice for the camera. I'm going to go a little bit fuller coverage than perhaps I would have. So I'm using the shade Fairlight today. With the CC cream, the original It's CC cream, I vary between whether I use the shade Fairlight, which is my normal shade, or light medium, which is the right shade for me when I've got tan all over. So you can see there, it was slightly fairer than the forehead, but you can also see that if I just had my normal makeup on, it would have been the right fit. Now I'm going to, I've got my sponge today. Now I very rarely use a sponge, and I was talking to lovely Lise, she's GlamMum7 on Instagram, lovely lady. She loves a sponge, and I can't remember what I put up the other day, and I was saying like, oh, I never really gravitate towards them, and she was like, this is always where we deviate because she loves it. But basically, one of the main reasons I don't tend to use them is like the CC cream is a great example of the kind of bases I wear are often quite skincare heavy, and I feel like sponges will drink them up. Whereas I'm just going to put some Bye Bye Under Eye Concealer on that I've had for so long that everything's rubbed off. This is more densely pigmented, and this is an example of something that works beautifully with a sponge. I'm going to use this generally around the eye area to act as a base for my blue eyeshadow. And then while I'm here, I might just add a bit of extra coverage towards the centre of my face. So pressing and patting that on. I feel like there was loads of things I was going to be telling you today and I've completely forgotten all of them. But the main thing is, I think, the difference in skin and how quickly, two things, how quickly I noticed that my skin went downhill when I wasn't well and when I wasn't adding moisture, but equally how quickly you can pick it up again. So if that's happened to you, it's not the end of the road. Because I'll be honest with you, like I have been with It Cosmetics, say, for 6.5 years now. Like it's such a long time. It honestly like means so much to me. I feel so lucky every time I think of it. And in that time, like we always laugh in the office, but genuinely, if someone doesn't like the CC cream, I do take it quite personally. I just feel really passionate about it. It's my favourite thing. And I always think with the CC creams, there's a way, if it's not quite working for you, to make it work. And if you're relatively new here, what I would tell you is I put all of my Instagram videos on YouTube as well. And they're long, they're like portrait like this. But it just means that if you're looking for a particular topic, it's a bit easier to search back on YouTube rather than on Instagram or TikTok. And I've done videos in the past about if your CC cream isn't working, here are some of the most frequently asked things that people will tell me they're not agreeing with and how you can rectify them. And one of them is that some people will say it sits or they don't, or they feel that it gathers. And honestly, that is one of those moments when if you get a nice exfoliation done, it will sit differently, I promise you. I'm using a bit of Peach's bronzer now, by the way. And what I do is like pick it up and pat the excess into the lid. But yeah, it was a really good lesson to me to remind you of that, because it's so funny as well. I'd gone for, I went to see Beetlejuice with my friend, and I see him a lot, so like he knows what I'd usually be looking like. And I said, oh my God, Tom, like I've not been well, my skin is so dry and everything is just sat on my face and it looks really heavy, and isn't it awful? I didn't say isn't it awful, but I said like, can you see the difference in my skin? And he went, yeah. Like even he could see everything just looked a bit dry. Whereas today, I haven't worn makeup in a few days and this is not how it was sitting a few days ago. So I'm delighted. Right, I've been harping on, I haven't even been explaining what I'm doing here. What I'm doing now, the brush I used before, by the way, was the It Cosmetics Complexion Perfection brush, which is so lovely for your foundation or blusher or anything like that. And then I'm using a similar domed shape, but this is slightly chiseled. This is one of Joy Adenuga's brushes. They are beautiful brushes. I often, like all my brushes are in a pot, and I often gravitate just towards shapes that I know are going to do a nice job and that are going to work. And half the time when I pick them up, it's one of Joy's that I've picked up. She does really beautiful brushes. I am using a soft patting motion just around the outer parts of the face to warm myself up a bit. Now, I'm not particularly going to add loads of colour because I'm using my blue eyeshadow, but I'm just going to do a bit more framing. Now today I was really lucky actually. I knew I wanted to use this blue shadow, but my things are a little bit in between mine and my mum's. And I had my blue with me, but there's loads of new launches that have come out recently that I'm really looking forward to showing you. Caroline Barnes has brought out a beautiful brush collection that I haven't actually used yet. I'll do some filming with that, but they're absolutely lovely shapes. When I opened them up, I just thought they're all shapes that a makeup artist would need. You can tell that a makeup artist's precision has gone into them. They're very versatile. They're very going to take the hard work out of it for you. Swiping these things away. And yeah, I'm excited to get stuck into those. I'm doing a video for my Eliza column this month all about different foundation launches, because September is a really popular time for different complexion launches, and I've got all of those ready. Where's my Vive Balm? That's somewhere. I'm going to try and get, I put a question sticker up the other day about which new launches you wanted me to see, and one of them was the Patrick Tar foundation, so leave that with me. I found an email for them. I'm going to try and get in touch with them. There's a Maybelline one that came up a lot, so I'll get in touch with them. But one thing actually with complexion and foundations and things, people often ask me, more like peers and, you know, work friends, people think like, am I not allowed to talk about other complexion products because I'm with it? And do you know what, like, it is super flexible and understanding with me. They know I love it, but they also know that, you know, to be an impartial journalist and have that kind of hat on, you have to try everything. So just so you know, there's actually nothing that stops me from discussing other complexion products. The reason I don't tend to is that I do genuinely use my it things every day. And I think, to be honest, when you know what works for you, like for example, very much like the point I was making at the beginning of this video, I'm not gonna go for like a bold colour and also mix up my base and have a million different things going on that I've got no control over. I'd rather stick to the things that I know are my staples, and then you're kind of free to experiment with everything else. So as much as I'm delighted to always try everything, and you know, you find beautiful things and you find things that are suitable for all different skin types and considerations, like whether you've got oily skin, dry skin, what you're looking for, it's always going to be the It Cosmetics CC cream for me. Now for my eyes. How many minutes in? Are we 16? This isn't too bad actually. That's not bad for my standards, is it? These palettes, I've got about 3 of them, and I need to show you all of the different iterations. This is my little half magic. If I'm going away, I'll pack it with me. I would have given this a wipe for you before I do my video, but I've forgotten today. As soon as I've held it up, I'm like, oh my God, they're going to be like, you palette, give it a wipe. But basically, you can kind of see when I pivot this, this is the Beam Trap Illuminator. And if you just wipe that with a tissue, you've got your deeper side and your fairer side, and it goes back completely to normal. A couple of the cloud blushes, some eyeshadows. I'm going to use this completely matte blue today. We're going to keep this simple here and just focus on when you're doing one thing. But then afterwards, I'm going to mermaid the life out of myself with other things. Now, when I was thinking of this eyeshadow, my first gut instinct was the MAC 217. I didn't know if it was 236 or 217. They're 2 of my favourites. 217, 219 and 236 from MAC. If you bought yourself 3 brushes that would do every eye makeup you want to do, they are the brushes. It's a fluffy one, a flat one and a pointed one. And when I was personal shopper at Selfridges, I used to just, that was my thing. Whoever needed help with their eyeshadow, go and get those 3 brushes and you're going to be fine, and they'll last you for years. Now, I'm also going to use Amy Connolly's The Blender, a really fluffy brush, because the thing with actual like wanting it to be super fresh blending is you get the best results when you have a clean brush to tidy up and then like a deeper brush for actually packing the colour on. Now, as you can see, I am using the softest wash of this. Now, the reason I've done this is I haven't set that concealer with any powder at all, because I don't want everything to go too powdery on me. But I need to do a thin little veil so that there's no patchiness. And then when I've done my thin veil, I'll start to pack the colour on. Now, it would probably be easier, in all honesty, if you wanted to set with a bit of powder and then go in with your shadows or use an eye primer or whatever you want to do. But because my skin has been so ridiculously dry, I'm just trying to ease off the powder where I can and just keep everything fresher where possible. So this is a little Half Magic eyeshadow. It's a completely matte blue and it's kind of a golden blue. You can see that it's quite, like there's a lot of yellow in the base. So it's a really brightening colour. And I'm just going to take this, see where the natural creases are of my eye and how I've gone completely above them. I want this wash all over. A really big thing I would tell you with your eyeshadow is don't look at where your natural creases are, like honestly, because then you can really limit yourself. And I say that because that was the biggest lesson I had to learn when I was learning makeup. I'll never forget, it like always makes me laugh when I think about it. This one day when I was learning makeup at Peaches and I was training with Nick for the day, because Kate and Nick taught me everything from scratch. And this set of smoky eyes I'd done, Nick was like, they're so lovely, like you've done a great job of them, but they're tiny on the person's eye. And she was like, they're literally teeny tiny little smokes. And it all, like I had basically done a full smoky eye on this tiny bit of my model's eye, and I had all of this like waving at me, wishing it had been used. So it's something I always reinforce now from my own tried and tested mistakes. I'm using a new brush, by the way. Just make sure you use all of the space available to you and don't get like eyelid Stockholm syndrome like I used to have. So, in theory, for packing on this part of my colour, I could be using a completely flat brush that would give me a really dense finish. However, I kind of want to tickle it into the fine lines as well as packing the colour on. So the fact that I've got the benefit of like the colour on here and the softness here to blend it is really helpful to me. And I'm just patting this on bit by bit. And then I'll pick my Amy brush up and pat it out with that as well. And then between the two, we should hopefully have a little dense wash of colour that softens out as I go up the eyelid. There we go. I do want to blend that up a tiny bit more. So I'm going to put some blue on here. I just think that looks so lovely. I love having a nice pop of colour. Chappell, if you look at, I mean, all I do, honestly, is put into YouTube, like whenever she's done a live concert, there are people doing the Lord's work, filming these concerts and uploading them to YouTube, so you can watch loads of her performances. One of my favourites, it's not one that someone filmed, it was like a properly recorded one, was her Tiny Desk concert, which she and her whole band had on a blue shadow like this, red lips, they all looked amazing. So I'm torn because one part of me is like, this is mermaidy, I need to cover it in glitter. And the other part of me is like, this is quite Tiny Desky. Do I just put a red lipstick on and be done with it? But no, do you know what? There's millions of times I can be doing my Tiny Desk. There's not going to be millions of times she's in Manchester with a mermaid theme. So I just need to, I need to go mermaidy. It's so lovely as well, like this is, because basically, in case you're not as absolutely mad about her as I am, this tour was booked before she had this seismic rise to fame this year. So she's performing at tiny venues. So like, we'll never see her in such a small venue again. It's actually the Manchester Student Union that it is on at, which I've never been to. Imagine like everyone on their Freshers Week and then me turning up in full costume, not even going to this concert. Like, who knows what I'm walking into. But anyway, I'm going to do a really soft lip, nothing too major. But I saw this TikTok the other day and it said like, it said, your makeup like never feels properly done until you've got your lips on, and I thought that's exactly how I feel. And I feel like you can kind of see around my mouth, like I'm still dry. See how that's kind of gathering there? But give me a few more days of behaving myself and putting my creams on, and we should be okay. I've got, it's a shame my hair's not curly. I've got my starfishes, I've got pearls for my hair, I've got little butterfly nails that Carmen did for me yesterday. I've got half magic pearls that I'm definitely going to put on. I'll put some of that stuff on the train. Side note, one of my favourite autumn things that I've been using all the time, these enormous balms are Pixie lip balms. They're absolutely gorgeous. I love that it's so big. That one is like a lovely tinted one that I have down here. I have a clear one by my bed, amazing. And my lips are perpetually dry at the best of times, never mind this time of year. Okay, let me just make sure I'm happy with this. I'm going to keep that really clean. And see now, back to the original point, you've got a base on, there's no redness distracting me, there's no particular blusher distracting me, you know, the lip is relatively neutral. By the time I've got my mascara on now, all we're going to be looking at is this eyeshadow, which is exactly what I want. And I'm using the Half Magic black mascara for this. What did I say? By the time I've got some eyeshadow on, that's not what I meant. This is a tubing mascara, so it won't smudge. It stays really fresh. And actually, the thing with tubing mascaras, I love tubing mascara. I go on about it all the time. I'm the kind of person that things will naturally print on. So tubing mascaras are really, really important to me. But they're not the most volumizing mascaras in the world. And it's like the compromise that you make. If you want it smudge free, you're not going to have as dramatic lashes. But if you want super dramatic lashes, you're probably going to be wiping under here all night. The nice thing with this one is I do find it nice and volumizing, so you do feel like you've got the best of both. And they have it in a lovely kind of teal green and a plum, and they put pearly pigments in there as well as the colours, so like the pearly base of those bright colours means that you really see them. I'm tempted not to put anything on the lower lashes, and I think I'm going to do just that. Just leave them clean and just let it be a little party up on top. Yeah. Okay, so please do me a little favour. Even if it's a day that you're doing your washing and you're at home, or, you know, try a colour that you thought you'd never wear. Give it a go. Try having, if you can, 2 clean brushes. One to put it on, one to fluff it out. Just wear it for the day and see what you think. And worst case scenario, you've decided it's not for you. Best case scenario, you might end up loving it and it might feel really nice for you. But anyway, I have to go to my concert I haven't got tickets for, get myself dressed up like a mermaid to talk to all the other mermaids that I won't be joining. But I can't wait. I'm so looking forward to it as well. I found like this thing on Reddit of people saying what they were going to wear, and I honestly cannot wait. And it doesn't even bother me that I'm not meant to be going. I've got a ticket for next week that's a resale ticket. I've never bought a resale ticket in my life, but I was in the queue the day they came out and there was just no getting them. So I'm just counting every lucky star that it is a legitimate resale ticket. So I'm meant to be seeing her next week, and my theme is different. My theme is the Midwest Princess. If you've made it half an hour into this video and you can tell me what a Midwest Princess should be wearing, I'm like Googling it the best I can. I feel like it's Paris and Nicole, The Simple Life kind of thing, but like any feedback, very welcome. But anyway, that's half an hour of your life you'll never get back. I hope you have a lovely rest of the day and I'll chat to you soon. Take care.